Hey, everybody, Jim Cummings here. And if Tigger were here, he'd say, thanks, everybody, for bouncing on in here and enjoying the show. But before we go, I want you to do me a small favor. Hit like, subscribe, and give us a thumbs up if you're enjoying the show. Now, speaking of enjoying the show, enjoy the show. Hey, everybody, Jim Cummings here, welcoming you all back to a very special episode of Toon'd In with Jim Cummings. Producer Chris, are you there?
Hey, I'm here. What's up, everybody?
All right, Brendan Dando, talk to me.
I'm here at a good time. Thank you for doing it at 7 p.m., Mr. Corey Burton.
Oh, my goodness. So thank you.
Today we have no one, nothing, etc., less than a bodacious, one of my oldest pals in the business, to be sure, and one of the most gifted guys that you've ever heard. Ever heard? You've always heard him. Believe me, you have always heard him and loved his work, even if you didn't know it was him. You ever go to Disneyland? You ever have a television set? How about a radio? You know this man, Corey Burton, ladies and gentlemen.
I was going to say, please keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside while the tram is moving.
Told you.
And no smoking, except for me.
That's right. Yeah, until you get on the ride.
Yes, exactly.
Well, thank you for being here, brother. Thank you so very much.
Oh my God, are you kidding? I mean, it's like you want to hang out with me? I mean,
yeah,
let's do it.
Amen.
I mean, normally, like it's like an interview situation. Me and my good buddy Josh Morales, Jantmore. I love doing the interviews with him, but I'm like being, informative and try to be especially entertaining. But you and I,
well, yeah, I mean, we've got enough history to pick from.
We're the two peas in a pod. We're the sort of skewed angle talent, because we come from different backgrounds, but we're the funny voices boys.
Yeah, it's true. And when we started, we were the young rookies, and we were looking up to people like Paul Frees and Mel Blanc. And
Paul Frees was my idol.
I mean, all of those guys. And now we're the old farts. And it beats
older by the day, and I can't
beats
believe
the
how
alternative.
Youthful you are when
I am not sure what you're doing there.
You've got a few years on me.
What is he doing?
I'm really
I think he's
old.
making a cup of tea here.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
I was thinking.
You can see.
I thought this was some exorcism.
Yes, something obscene.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I was thinking, Corey.
I'm blissfully unaware of
Put the zipper down. Okay.
Yes. But I mean, he was saying, anything you want to discuss in particular. I said,
yes.
We don't need no stinking directions or instructions. We just hang.
No, but I do have a question for you, because you were in the business. We're right next door to each other in age. I'm pretty sure, but I think you beat me to the punch, to the mic.
I started in 1972 professionally, and actually, I was doing.
He was 6 years old, by the way.
Yeah. No, actually, I auditioned when I was 17 on my driver's permit or whatever, driving my mom's Galaxy 500 or something. Or maybe it was my dad's Plymouth Satellite.
And there was a microphone in this vehicle?
Anyway,
that's how far ahead of the curve you were.
No, I had realistic Radio Shack microphones.
Oh, yeah. I bet you did.
But in high school, myself and a talented, very odd friend, we did commercials for the brand new John F. Kennedy High School PA system. And we didn't realize.
What?
Yeah, and I produced them.
Commercials to be played over the PA system of a high school?
Yeah.
That's a lucrative. There's got to be money there. That's a gold mine.
Yeah. No, there wasn't money.
You were just rolling around in it back then.
There wasn't money, but
no.
but there was, infamy in a way. Because we were we were nerd boys. Duh.
That's hard to believe, but okay.
Yeah, and I was the geek and the spaz, and couldn't play sports and didn't want to, um, but I did the funny voices, and we would do send up, so like buy a student activity card, and we do like one like the audience wouldn't know, but the old J Ward, the first J Ward cartoon series, Hoppity Hooper, was produced in San Francisco.
Hoppity Hooper. Can you give me any of the theme song? Because I remember the name.
Oh, it was bizarre, like it was bizarre, jazzy kind of stuff. Because it was done in San Francisco.
Okay.
And narrated by Marvin Miller. I don't know if you ever knew Marvin. But anyway,
Marvin the Martian.
That was before. Well, let's see. Was Paul Frees in San Francisco? I don't think so.
Oh yeah, he was in.
Not in the late 50s or whenever that was. Maybe, I don't know.
Anyway.
Anyway, so I always did Hans Conried. It was just because I was a fan of the J Ward cartoons. He was Spinally Whiplash, but on Hoppity
can
Hooper.
you give us some? Can you give us some?
Oh yeah,
Hans that people would perhaps recognize.
He was Waldo Wigglesworth, Uncle Waldo to the frog Hoppity Hooper. And he would always have a ridiculous scheme, Hoppity, I could make a fortune on this. Oh my goodness, it's the best idea I've ever had. And then they had this sound effect that was it was just all cut together sound effects. And the sound effects, I'm spitting on myself as usual.
Yeah, I know, it's not pretty.
Sound effects were probably, I'm sure it must have been from the very start, Skip Craig, who was the track reader, dialogue editor for J Ward Productions for the whole run. And Skip, as like a teenager, was a fan and played like trombone, I think, with Spike Jones.
Oh wow!
So it's all sort of this Spike Jones and J Ward was sort of a little bit like William Gaines, Mad Magazine. They were all these crazy,
pre-LSD.
Yeah.
But LSD.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Gabbling too much.
No,
anyway,
you're doing great.
Yes, Waldo Wigglesworth. When I met Hans Conried, because
Did
I
you?
was in Don Hill's workshop.
Jeez.
Or not, I mean, it was in Dawes Butler's workshop, and Don Hill's daughter, Annie Hills, was a student there. But Don Hills was the director of the Heartbeat Theater, the Salvation Army radio drama, syndicated.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. And of course, in Dawes Brothers Workshop, I was a trained radio actor, but I was, 19 years old at the time or whatever.
Can you tell everybody who Dawes was and how everybody really kind of does know him but doesn't know they know him?
Yeah, Dawes Butler was the, the most famous character was Yogi Bear. He was Hanna-Barbera's basically every leading character voice. Yeah. It was Dawes and his buddy, who was a ventriloquist named Don Messick. And Don Messick did all those crazy sound effect things.
Oh, Yogi.
And Dawes Butler was, a radio actor, a vaudevillian.
Yeah. Quick Draw McGraw, right?
Yeah, Quick Draw McGraw and Baba Louie.
That was Don.
Say Quick Straw. And that was all Dawes.
Yeah.
And Dixie of Pixie and Dixie. He was a Snagglepuss. Oh, no. Sorry. Not Snagglepuss. Yes. Wait, Snagglepuss. Yes. Exit. Stays right. Laughing all the way, even. And that was.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. That's right.
I think that was supposed to be like a bad impression of Phil Silvers.
And there was Rough and Ready. No, I think Top
Rough
Cat.
and Ready. Yeah, Rough and Ready was just just a bunch of noises.
Well, Jay, how you doing there, Reddy?
Yeah. I think they gave him dialogue later. It's funny. It's kind of like Zipper the Fly in Rescue Rangers.
Yes.
It started.
I
As
have a
just,
question for you, Corey.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off like that.
No problem.
So would you say like broadcasting and radio was your first like attraction to voice acting in a sense?
Well, no, it was actually Disneyland. It was Paul
It was.
Frees. Yeah. Well, I mean,
Beware
Disneyland.
of hitchhiking
It
strangers.
was the haunted house, wasn't it? Wasn't that where your love of voice acting stemmed from?
The Haunted Mansion, but it was
Mansion,
before that
yeah.
because Paul Frees narrated the adventure through Monsanto's adventure through inner space. Men of science
Yes.
are constantly making similar journeys through the mighty microscope.
Yeah.
These tiny bits of snowflake crystal tower above me like an enormous wall of ice.
So you've
Dare
never
I
heard it?
penetrate this gigantic prism or something? Well, what was it? I can't remember.
Yeah.
But
That's Americana, isn't it?
yeah. Well, Disneyland in the 60s, in 1968 especially, was something really special. And that was... But anyway, so I had heard that voice. I loved it. I heard it in cartoons, of course, the Jay Ward cartoons, Buddha's Bed Love and all that.
Natasha.
But he, to me, was always amazing, especially... I mean, one of the few times I think I was moved to tears as a kid. We saw the re-release on a Saturday matinee at the Americana Theater in Panorama City of George Powell's The Time Machine, and Paul Frees was the voice of the talking rings.
Oh.
And it was so sad. It was the devolution of humanity when the Morlocks.
Yes. I remember that. That was the coolest movie.
Eloy. It sure
Eloy.
was. And Alan Young was in it.
And I had a crush on, what was her name? Carol.
Yvette Mimieux.
Ooh.
Who didn't?
Yeah,
didn't?
God. My little 6-year-old chromosomes were sizzling.
Yeah. And Rod Taylor.
Yeah. Him, not so much. But yeah,
I
but
loved
Yvette
Rod
definitely.
Taylor. He was so cool.
Oh, yeah. And it just drove me crazy. That effect when they started shooting forward into the future. And it was
Yeah.
just...
It was stop motion.
Oh, my gosh. It was
because
amazing.
George Powell was originally an animator, but he animated the Puppet Tunes, which were, just like the California Raisins. They were, but they weren't clay. They were little wooden figures, I think.
Little figures, yeah.
Yeah. And he would have one facial pose.
Yeah, per every second.
Yeah. So, and they would, click a frame of, and then, and then it would all be put, strung together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, they've been cleaned up and re-released for a road show by
and re-lost.
Yeah, by a guy named Arnie Leibovitz. Anyway.
So that's great.
But
so that's cool.
But so now I've gone off on a tangent there, of course, as I
But
always
that's all right. Come back, Corey.
You brought up Disney before. Was that the first time you and Jim worked together? Can you recall?
Regularly. We knew each other before then.
Yeah, see you at the voice caster.
I remember first meeting, I can't remember, maybe it was outside the voice caster. I don't remember. We were on the sidewalk.
Yeah. Voicecaster was a legendary audition facility in Burbank. Beautiful downtown, not quite downtown Burbank.
And you were kind of new in town, but doing very, very well.
Yeah. I was brand new.
And,
you were the grizzled veteran.
Wildly talented. Well, not quite.
Anyway.
It was a long time ago. But, but I thought, ooh, this guy's good.
Oh, thank you.
And
I've been scaling the heights of adequacy ever since.
You were just getting started, and then and we both just bloomed in our own
Oh yeah, and I think the first big gig that I can think of that we ever did together was definitely Chippendale.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, definitely. And it's funny because we are the Venn diagram of voice talent that doesn't touch, because you have an entirely different range, different vocal range, different set of resonances, and you came through through music and a whole different entertainment angle, whereas
That's
I
true.
came from radio acting.
Yeah.
From old radio drama,
And
and I worked with all the old timers.
I came from rock and roll and a lot of children's theater.
Exactly.
And what differences does that bring? The difference between coming from radio and from music?
Means I was louder.
Well, funnier and more entertaining, more fearless. Just a greater ability to entertain and to get laughs. More fluid.
Thank you.
With ad-libbing. Me, it's like, okay, in the script, maybe I could. Oh, if I pause here, maybe that'll get a laugh.
Oh,
because we do the table read, we mark our scripts.
Now, were you big on preparing beforehand?
Oh yeah, that's what Dawes taught us.
Now you gotta mark your script and
Yeah.
and
See, I never did. I never ever did. They would send them, and I remember telling our good buddy Dave over there, who is the head of Disney Character Voices, back then. He character voices now, but back then he was just a page or what have you.
Well, there was Les Perkins.
Well, no. Anyway, I remember, but I just wanted to say.
Oh, you mean Disney TV animation, Dave?
Sure.
Wright.
Yeah, Dave Wright. He would come out to the house, and I remember him coming all the way out. I lived in Santa Rosa Valley, and he was on July 4th of July, and he brought a Darkwing script out to him. And I said, buddy, I got to tell you something. Thank you, but it's the 4th of July. I am not going to read this. The first time I read this, I'll be standing in front of a microphone, and I won't rehearse, and I won't,
Exactly.
And
exactly.
And he
that's your
goes,
strength.
well, they kind of told me I had to do this, and I go, I'll take it to the session and tell him, boy, that Dave Wright, he is a hell of a guy. He came all the way out to humbucking, and to bring me a script that I wasn't even going to read till I got here. Shall we? And they go, okay, that's great, Jim. And they gave me the finger, and then we did the show.
Yeah. No, we always used to do the table reads, but But then, especially when digital recording came in, it was like, just do 3 takes of each line. And I hate it. I hate it. It's like, let's put on a show. Yeah. We can spin off of each other, the timing. Well, I mean, it's nice that at least, although we have to stop, we can't overlap, which bothers me.
well, you have to be able to edit it. You can edit it if you overlap. Come on,
and
I'm
I asked
used
Skip
to that
Craig.
now.
In fact, he said, "Oh yeah, I can do, I can do the track reading with overlaps. We did it all the time."
Who is Craig? Who's Craig?
Skip Craig, the Jay Ward sound editor. Well, he's done track reading for so many cartoon series. But he started, with Jay Ward. That's funny.
But wait, I'm just trying to figure out, did we get the name of your or did I miss it? The very first cartoon you did?
Let's see. Well, my very first professional gig was the voice of Hans Conried. Because I knew Doss Butler, and he knew that I could imitate.
Yeah, and wasn't he also Captain Hook?
Hans Conried was Captain Hook, of course.
Yes.
Yes.
Peter Pan.
And now I am Captain Hook. And we've altered him a little bit depending on the situation. And boy, we had so much fun with Jake and the Neverland Pirates, Jeff Bennett doing Mr. Right. They used to have me do Mr. Smee. I always thought you would be Mr. Smee, but
yeah.
Because Bill
I
Thompson.
could have probably done as good as me. Yes, well, see, I
having a
I
smee
do the
off.
cheek thing without physically doing. I don't know. I just can do that.
I have to cheat. I'm not that good an actor. That's why I have to pull out my cheek.
But I don't have that texture. But also, too, it's just a tough character for me. My voice is a little bit limited in the
Yeah. Well,
in the
it's
high
me doesn't work
range.
that much, so you're not missing anything.
Yeah. But Kelly Ward, who directed
Yeah.
Jake and the Neverland Pirates, they would have us as Hook and Smee because it's for preschoolers and younger audience.
Sure.
They didn't want Hook to be too
Real.
bombastic and intimidating.
Scary.
But yes, right. He's scaring my kids. It's like scary. It's ridiculous. Hans Conried, chewing the scenery. But anyway, so finally, as we were saying, well, why don't you do less accent and less character? Yeah, then you're losing the character. And then I was listening to some old radio shows. Hans Conried was on the Mel Blanc radio show. And
I didn't know he had one.
yeah, he did
I guess he did.
briefly. With all the great radio character actors.
Sure.
And Hans Conried played I forgot what the character's name was, but anyway. And there was one scene in particular that was the key. It's like, oh, that's how we make Captain Hook non-threatening, ridiculous, and allows him to chew every splinter of scenery. He was like, Mel Blanc was like a soda jerk or something or whatever at a drugstore, a Rexall drugstore, as they would incorporate the sponsor into the plot and all that. An old radio. And then there was a line where, and maybe Joe Kearns was the boss. I don't remember. And Mel Blanc said, how does your, how does your wife like that new vanishing cream they used to call cold cream or something, skin,
right.
skin things you put on at night. And he said, oh, she loves what it does for her skin, but unfortunately, there's a problem. Yes, in the middle of the night, she keeps sliding out of bed, because it's got a studio audience. So you had to go kaboom with the punchline. And the way he just went so over the top, it was stratospheric, and I was like, that is the Hans Conried that we need for the kids version.
That's why he was good at animation.
Yeah,
isn't that part of the key to certain animated styles, right? As being way too much.
Yeah.
Which is funny, probably why I did okay with it, and you did. I was way over the top.
Yeah. Well, and I learned, from the old vaudevillians who were the radio character actors as well. Most of them came from vaudeville. At least the trick voice men, they used to call guys like us.
Did you get to? You say you learned from them. Now, who was still around when you were? They were transitioning out, and you were transitioning in. Paul Frees.
Yeah, Paul Frees.
And he was a Pillsbury Doughboy
was
too.
My idol. Paul Frees.
Me too.
Just remarkable.
Too. Yeah, I agree.
Just such an incredible talent and unusual personality. I didn't ever work with Paul Frees, but on the in the late 70s, early 80s, they had a brief resurgence of old-time radio. And so they had like old-time radio producers, the old sound effects guys that did the live sound effects. Bud Tollefson was his name. And they would set up a table with the coconuts and the gravel boxes,
like over at the Disney,
and
that
do
big
all the
room
live
with Disney
sound
character
effects.
voices.
Yeah, and have bottles of water and stuff, and
yes,
and you can pour a drink, Give me that.
So you never
glass,
worked with Paul
bartender.
Frees, but who else was back
But I
then?
met Paul Frees.
That you may have
I
worked
met
with.
Paul
or did
Frees
you?
early on at a Captain Crunch session.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Bill
Well, that's
Scott, because I knew I met June Foray through my uncle Burton, and that's how I have my stage moniker. That's not my
That's
born
right.
name. I tried working
Right,
under
right.
my own name, which I never liked. I don't like names anyway, because I forget. I'm so weird and dyslexic with names and socially.
So am I, Ralph.
Yes, no.
How'd they go with you with script memorizing scripts then? Did it impact in any way?
I can't memorize. I can commit certain things to memory after. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember anything.
After it makes an impact, but that's why I've never been a stage or on camera actor, because I can't remember lines.
Yeah, and at this point, we're both so, used to reading it.
Yeah, but we cold read, because that was part of my training as a radio actor.
All I ever did, yeah.
And, and the old radio actors, they'd be shuttled from studio to studio to live radio. Guys, Michael Rye. And,
sure.
His real name was...
Oh, Michael Rye.
Michael Rye. He was older than we even thought. And Michael,
he was.
Michael Rye, he was an amazing guy.
Can you tell everybody who he was on the Gummy Bears?
He was Igthor.
In character, you have
Duke
to...
Igthor.
Dookie.
Yeah, but you have to...
Dookie. And I was Toady.
After Bill Scott passed away.
Yes. See?
Yeah, Toadwort.
Yeah, that was... I think that might have been one of the first times we worked together, when I ended up sneaking in on some of the Gummy Bear sessions.
And Michael Rye, bless his soul, he must have been like 80 when we were working with him. And I think he lived like over 100.
Yeah.
Did you know that he was fabulously wealthy? His name was actually Rye Billsbury. Billsbury.
That sounds rich.
Yes. Well, Billsbury didn't sound
about the
good.
Doughboy.
Didn't sound good on baked good products, so they made it Pillsbury. So he was part of the Pillsbury dynasty.
And he didn't get to be the Doughboy.
No, he wouldn't have wanted to. But anyway, but he loved being a hammy actor.
Technicality.
With his helmet wig,
Yeah. Well, my real name is Smithsonian, but I don't like to tell anybody.
Yes, really.
So let's keep that between us.
I'm not. I don't think I'm related to anybody. Oh no, I am related to somebody famous.
Yes, you are.
I think my mother's maiden name is Lang. Her father.
She's Lana Lang from Superman?
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Related to
Clara D. Lang. Anyway, who's still around and just as annoying as ever. My old mother, she's 91 now.
God bless her.
Ay. Still giving me a headache. You never
that's
call
good.
me. Anyway.
Which character is based on your mum?
I've never based a character on her, but her great aunt Sadie Mallinger or whatever, was crazy as a bedbug, and she looked like it too. She had this frizzy, wild hair, and this wild expression always. And she was very loud, and she was the one who, at a family gathering, at some point there would be a lull in conversation, and she had a funny voice. She had one of these Dudley Do-Right kind of voices, and she'd say, "Is it hot in here, or is it just me?" She had a big gap in her teeth.
It's just you being hot.
She was just wacky. Aunt Sadie.
Did you tell her, get that lampshade off your head and have a seat?
Yeah, but
there you go.
Sort of lift. Yeah, exactly. She was that type. No, she would entertain us kids with inappropriate like limericks and stuff. Ooey gooey was a worm, a mighty worm was he.
He sat down on a railroad track, the train he did not see.
And then the
Ooey gooey wasn't very fuzzy, was he?
you know, whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Something-
Well, I'm glad he wasn't from Nantucket.
I know.
That's all I can say.
I know. Well, she would say things like that too. Actually,
Okay.
on my father's side,
Oh boy.
where I had my aunt Goldie. Now, my mom's mom was named Golda, or Goldie. But
Sure.
anyway, Aunt Goldie was from Bessarabia, my dad's side of the family.
From Besame Mucho? Where's this?
Which is adjacent to Transylvania.
Oh, perfect.
And Aunt Goldie had this thick accent, and it was, and she sounded like a bad Bela Lugosi impression.
Oh, that's
And she
wonderful.
had a voice like this. But anyway, but the thing about it is Aunt Goldie swore like a sailor.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she'd say, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful! Oh, you son of a bitch! Oh shit, I can't believe it!"
Well, now we have our promo for the.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, it
no,
probably
that's
got
great.
even worse. But
That's great. Hey, I have a question for you because I've been known to do this. I had my Uncle Sam and my Aunt Grace, God rest both their souls. I've weaseled them into a few cartoons here and there, just over the years. Now, have you done that with your family members?
yeah. Well,
Have you?
Aunt Sadie once on something. That
Yeah.
silly thing like Aunt Sadie.
That sounded like my Aunt Grace.
Yeah.
What are the odds?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Well, she was, just said the way that she talked.
And so I weaseled her into a. In fact, she was the basis for Lieutenant Spinelli in Chippendale's Rescue Rangers.
yeah.
Well, how you doing there, Rob? Yeah, Sarge, don't worry. I'm going to get everything done for you.
That was partially my Aunt Grace.
Yeah.
Bless her heart.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
no, we take from
The
our
mailman.
families, our teachers,
Yeah.
shopkeepers, whoever had.
Yeah, and do you ever get approached to do seminars, to do classes, to teach, to pass on your knowledge?
I did for years before social media. When I had a website, I had an interactive message board, and and Dawes always said, you got to pay it back, and so I couldn't sit up and be a formal.
I'm dying to
teacher.
pay it back. If somebody gives me something, I'll pay it back.
Well, you're doing it right now.
No,
I mean,
no,
really, because this
Sure.
is
No, I'm just
this is really informing and inspiring.
Yeah.
And so I had an interactive message board, and I developed this snarky, verbose written character as your instructor, your arrogant instructor with a crazy sense of humor, and I just asked me anything about. It was all things voiceover.
Yeah. Well, also you were able to you parlay that character, that voice that you've just done, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't you do a how-to cartoon video with Goofy, how to ski?
Oh yeah. Well, that was
Or the ninja. Oh, I'm thinking of the ninja. Oh, the ninja. I can still hear that.
There's a whole bunch of them. That's based on
Instructional videos.
based
spoof
on
of
the
them,
Disney
right?
Goofy shorts.
Yes.
That was at a time when Pinto Colvig was on the outs with Walt because of Gulliver's Travels. Because Walt
What's that
worked
mean?
for Pinto Colvig was Gabby and several characters in Gulliver's Travels, and the Fleischer brothers, who produced who
were
made
not
Gulliver's
Disney.
Travels, were Disney's arch enemy, the competition.
Yeah.
They were New York. New York Jews, and by the way, I think that's where all of the BS about Walt being anti-Semitic came from. No, he just didn't like the Fleischers,
Yeah, yeah. It was just those two.
and yet, later on, he hired Richard Fleischer, the son, I guess, of
The Sherman brothers were in there somewhere
one
too,
of
if
them.
I'm not mistaken.
Well, the Sherman brothers.
Speaking
were
of brothers,
with Walt the whole time.
Sure.
Did you know?
Oh, I know.
Did you know Dick Sherman?
very well.
Yeah, me too. God,
Both of
I
them.
loved him. May he rest in peace.
Yeah.
What a beautiful man.
Did you hear? I don't know when this will air. Chances are it will be over, but there is a tribute to him that somebody.
Oh
mounted
yeah.
with
No,
the El Capitan.
so
It's nice to know.
I shared a dressing room with him. I think for some theme park awards
sure.
thing. I was the announcer in the show.
Yeah. So
And,
you got to meet him a few times, right?
And yeah, he was, he was just a beautiful, wonderful,
Yeah.
sweet man.
Yeah.
all
Yeah. I got a
those
ton of
great
stories
songs.
about those two.
Yeah. I never met Bob or Robert Sherman, but
Yeah.
he was in England most of the time.
Yeah.
They didn't get along. Everybody
Yeah.
knows that now. Anyway,
Yeah.
I have to circle back and complete what I started before I went off on this. Is a long tangent. My mother's maiden name is Lang. Her father was Joseph Lang, who fled Austria-Hungary in the late 20s, I guess.
Yeah.
Because, this Hitler guy is causing a little trouble. And
Got it.
He was Orthodox,
Yeah.
which was whatever. Anyway, but his name was Joseph Lang. Well, there's an actor, Stephen Lang, a wonderful actor. He was the villain in Avatar, and he was in that recent series. He plays lots of fantastic.
Yeah, he's a good
actor.
guy. Yeah.
When my mother's father had hair, I saw some old ancient pictures of him. It's like, oh my God, there's a blood relation there. Because and Stephen Lang's parents, grandparents, whatever, also escaped Austria-Hungary.
Yeah. Well, thank goodness. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been there.
Yeah. But anyway, so I'm absolutely convinced I must be related to him.
Well, if you're out there, Stephen.
Yeah.
Family reunion here on
call us
Toon'd In.
now. Stephen.
Terrific
Call
actor.
us.
Anyway,
Call us on down.
Why do you say so? Our special guest right now, Stephen Lang.
yes. But
Are you related?
back
My
to,
detector says.
Yeah. I suspect. I mean,
Getting back to earlier, though, we were talking about Chip and Dale. You were saying that you weren't big on improvising, where Jim, that's all Jim does. He just loves to improvise, doesn't read the scripts. Jim does Jim, right?
Yeah.
How did you go in studio if you're very much, I like to follow the script, and Jim is going way off the script? How do you handle those situations? Do you try and keep up with Jim, or what do you do?
Just smack me around.
Oh yeah. No,
Say,
no,
do
no.
it right.
It's I mean, again, with as a radio actor, so many.
Well, acting is reacting.
Yeah, exactly. You just go with it. And, of course, in live radio or uninterrupted recorded cast radio comedy and drama, if somebody flubs or says something different or pauses in a strange place, you go with it.
Yep.
It's like, I didn't notice that spot on your collar.
Yeah. There's.
Oh, you mean that spot? You say, aha, that'll get a laugh because I'm repeating it. And then I've learned also over the years, I've gotten much better and much freer, especially when doing the Hans Conried, something I'm very fluent in. And Jeff Bennett, it's me, Jeff just can't contain himself.
Yes,
He's
it's
constantly
me. He does really good.
I know. I mean, he's constantly ad-libbing, and so for comedy shtick, I like to I'll repeat something, whatever. Everybody has to go away. Yes, go away. Well, blah, 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 blah. Just to tie it together, and you sort of underline the laugh that may not have been there when Mr. Smee delivered it, but because it's repeated or mocked, it may strike people funny. And timing,
Timing.
Yeah, timing.
How did you guys go with recording Chip and Dale? Because I'm envisioning you guys were all in the studio together, but Jim, wasn't it, because we had Tress on last week as well, wasn't it a case of for Chip and Dale's voices you had to talk really slow so they could speed it up, right? So, Jim, were you ever recording in the studio with Corey and Tress when they were doing Chip and Dale? Because that would have been hard
Always.
to sort of...
Well, we would do it temp.
Straightforward.
Straight.
Okay.
And then usually most of the cast would go on
we would
to
take
other
off. We were
sessions
done.
or go home.
And Corey and
then
Tress had to
Tress
stay
and
after
I
school.
would go back through all of our lines very slowly. Now, the funny thing is, the original Chip and Dale were not legible.
They were actual chipmunks.
Yeah, well, they chattered. It was basically a bunch of nonsense and non sequiturs that occasionally you could understand a word or two, and they were done by a local Burbank actress,
By 4 o'clock.
an ink and
I
paint
see.
girl, and they were sped up like double speed or more, so it was really fast. Now, for TV animation, especially in those days, it had to be like radio with pictures, is what they accused Rocky and Bullwinkle of being, limited animation. So, you can only, they animate on the on the 3s or the 5s, as they say. They only change the pose, the image once every 4 or 5 frames, or 3 to 5 frames. So they don't have to have so many drawings. It's much cheaper and faster. And so that's why they had, Rocky and Bullwinkle had a narrator and very heavy in dialogue, and you had to get so much of the plot, the comedy, so much of the show was really radio. And so we had to turn Chip and Dale into,
Crime-fighting duo.
Yeah. And we worked on it. We spent hours with the tape machines at B&B. Myself, Megan, Les Perkins, probably Tad Stones, and Art Vitello, I think. And we worked, so I always say it's not anything egomaniacal about it, and I don't ever expect to be paid anything special, but I kind of formulated it. With the help of everyone, because I thought, okay, so we can't, so they're both women, so we want to separate the characters. That's why it's me and Tress.
Yeah.
And I thought, well,
you guys had to stay after school and record.
But these characters, what are they? They're like the Little Rascals.
Chipmunks. Yeah.
But they're like the Little Rascals. And Dale is kind of like Spanky, and he's kind of a clown. A little bit like Alfalfa, too. So I based Dale's speaking voice, which is sped up, on Alfalfa Switzer.
Can you give us some Dale without being sped up?
So the original Dale was based on Alfalfa Switzer, who I think came from Tulsa, Oklahoma, or somewhere like that. And it's the dead,
Yeah.
the not the Dead End Kids, but the Little Rascals, and they did all those 1930s, 1940s kid-like things. How about that? Instead of, how about that? How do you like that? How do you like that? Well, what do you know?
Sure, yeah.
So there's that arc to it that throws you right back to the late 30s, early 40s.
Is there a term? Is there a technical term for that? Because I know, like, you've done a lot of voices that's like kind of in the transatlantic accent.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, transatlantic is so typical for.
So I'm curious if there's another term for
Captain Hook is one.
Yeah.
the type of style
Hans
you were
Conried
talking about.
was once
speaking
asked, and usually he didn't give a straight answer. Was once asked about his accent, which he normally spoke with. And in fact, when I met Hans Conried, sitting in on a Heartbeat Theater, and eventually ended up working with him on 2 Heartbeat Theaters and an Alien Worlds radio show, because Hans was a very fine radio actor and loved it. And so when I was first introduced to Hans Conried, which was a surprise to me, because that was this Don Hills was the director. He says, "Oh, I want you to meet somebody. This is Hans Conried." And I was so intimidated. And he said, "Hey Hans, this kid, he does your voice. Here, do it for him." And I go, "Oh God." And I thought,
Yeah.
Okay. I said, "Oh, let's hear it." And so all I could think of was a line from the Fractured Flickers series, which I loved. Nobody knows what that is now, but if you ever see some Fractured Flickers, I mean, if you find them anywhere, it's the silent film actors' estates won't let them run anywhere. But anyway, you might find them illegally posted somewhere. But anyway, Hans Conried was the host. He was really snarky and effete.
Oh boy,
hosting Fractured Flickers. And the show opens. We're kind of like I don't know, snarky. They were like Letterman show, and
okay.
It's a traditional kind of cold open comedy. Rowan and Martin's Laugh In, of course, which was Gary Owens doing the cold opens. But anyway, so there was one I remember. It says, "The following program is brought to you by the makers of Mistakes." And then they had this crazy theme come in. And of course the footage was upside down when he said that.
And wasn't he on the Danny Thomas show? Wasn't he Uncle Tanoose?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yes,
he was Uncle Tanoose. He was so many
great little character roles.
Yeah,
right?
all kinds of characters, all kinds of dialects and stuff. But yeah, he was interviewed. But when I met him, and I said, "Welcome to another scintillating episode of Fractured Flickers. I'm your host, Hans Conried, and welcome." And he says, "Well, that's very interesting, young man, but I don't speak with an accent." To me,
but I don't speak Sie mit an accent.
Yeah. And later on, I mean, he was really nice to me.
That's good.
He said,
"They say don't meet your heroes, but it was okay."
Well, before he left, and I shook his hand and said, "What an honor it was to meet him." And he put his hand on my shoulder, and he said, "Well, it's all very flattering, but why don't you find someone more worthy to idolize?"
Oh man.
That was Hans. He was quite a character.
Not a lot of that going around today.
But there was a later interview that my buddy Keith Scott recorded. Yeah. And the interviewer was some film buff, voice buff, whatever. And they said, what do you call the type of your style of speech? You speak with a sort of dialect accent. So what do you call that accent? I call it affected.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because
That's right.
Hans grew up in New York City and spent summers in Wisconsin. It's funny.
Well, Jonathan Harris, our mutual friend,
Yes.
he had a story, and it was at Stella Adler, I think, that he was shopping with her at Macy's in New York City, and a lady recognized her, and not him, but so she went up and said, "Oh my God, oh Miss Adler, I'm just so, it's so amazing to meet you, and I'm from England too," and I said. And I was always curious, where are you from over in England, back in the mother country? She goes, "Oh, my darling, I'm not from England. I'm simply affected."
Yeah. Well,
And she said, "Oh, never mind."
Jonathan.
She's from Oklahoma.
God.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, okay, lady.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Affected. But,
Yes.
it's theatrical. Well, Hans he idolized John Barrymore. And he said, and Snidely Whiplash, and and Captain Hook even. He said, I'm just doing Barrymore, It's John Barrymore. And if you've ever seen Svengali, it is indeed like Hans Conried. It's that same sort of theatrical thing from the 1930s. The way that the way
That's
that
also a little bit of the Wizard of Oz. Who was that great guy?
Oh, Frank Morgan.
Frank
Morgan, who was...
he was in there too.
Yeah,
Don't you
Frank
think?
Morgan died before The Wizard of Oz was released.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think.
Oh man,
He had
Well,
no
God,
idea.
God rest him. Yeah.
Yeah. Frank Morgan.
What an iconic.
Everyone loved him.
Sure.
He was quite the alcoholic. That's why he didn't live that long. He was always had his little,
Yeah, well, he sold it on that. Try some of this right over here.
I'm a very good man. This is a very bad wizard.
So, did I ask you? Was there ever a time that you were intimidated by somebody? You didn't. You walked into a studio and said, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm here with." I mean, other than me, obviously.
Well, my God. Actually, I'm very shy, but I didn't know it until my 40s. Is like, oh, that's what it is. I'm Asperger's. I'm autistic spectrum. It's like,
That's a superpower, though. So you're
it
good.
sure as hell is, because it's
Wait,
like,
so I want to interject and ask what was it like going through life undiagnosed? Like, was that stressful? Did that cause anxiety?
well, my dear old dad, who is on his last legs, but still completely coherent, and he's going to be 96 this month. But
God bless him.
Anyway, yeah. When I was a little kid, and I was always very odd and shy.
I find that hard to believe, but okay.
Yeah, and very quiet too. Always very quiet.
Well, you got over that.
Only amongst
Sure.
my
Yeah, I
fellow
hear you.
nutballs.
There you go.
And
I
show
hear you.
business, and we're all a little bit on the spectrum.
Oh, you bet.
All of us, especially voice
I think.
people.
I would think so.
Definitely. I mean, because I always thought, what did I want when I was 8 years old? What do you want for your birthday? Tape recorder.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I was kind of like that. You know what I used to draw? Because I always like to doodle, always like to draw. I would draw microphones, really cool old microphones, and I would draw them and then cut them out and put them on like a back of a thing, and I would sit and I would talk into them all by myself, just in my own little, coming to a theater near you.
Yeah.
And my little sister would walk in and go, "Are you talking to the your paper microphone again? And I go, yeah, actually, I am.
Oh, yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I never had any talent for drawing things, but
Well, I could draw you a microphone.
I wanted to record things and make little shows, and I did. Me and my
that's
brother
great.
and my cousins, and I was the ringleader, and we would just invent these little dramas having to do with family, friends,
Like the Little Rascals.
and celebrities. Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
put on a
yeah.
show.
Yeah, well, I still have recordings of some of them. In fact, and then we did our own little send up of the Ed Sullivan Show, and my brother,
Yeah.
who's still, he's the funny one in the family. People say, "Oh, you're so funny." So you haven't met Les, my older brother. He's still hilarious.
Oh, that's great.
It's funny because he's real estate survey, accounting, whatever kind of profession.
Well, those guys are maniacs. There's no doubt about
But
it.
he is so funny.
Yeah.
But anyways, so it's the Ed Smell Your Butt Show. I was.
Oh, God, I used to love that show.
8, and and our cousin Barbie
Smell your butt show.
was Barbie Barfo, and she was like a bad comedian telling bad jokes, and then. My brother's so funny. Says, and now here's the mucus ball monkeys. But anyway, and then he said,
Stand back.
and then he introduced me as whatever, it was just totally impromptu. And I invented a character. It was later on I figured out it was based on Bella
Lugosi.
No.
Abzug.
No, but similar. No, the comedian singer, big fat,
Roseanne Barr. Fatty
no,
Arbuckle.
but very
John Candy.
Catskills, body.
Shecky someone.
humor.
Shecky anyone.
Yeah, she did a lot of the really filthy blue, songs.
Moms
and
Mabley.
stuff. Yeah, the
Okay.
Jewish Moms Mabley. Very, very similar. Yeah.
Okay.
Bella Barth. Damn.
DeBall.
Somebody.
Bella DeBall. DeBall?
People know.
Okay.
I can't remember. But anyway, so, and it just a name popped into my head. And so I did this this windbag comedian singer, and to this day, my brother still refers to it. My cousin still refers to it because I don't know how it came to me. I said, "Hello, everybody. I'm Myrna Teltz. I'm a singer. I'm a comedian. I'm both."
Oh, God.
And then I did
multi-talented.
some, I don't remember what I did that was silly after that, but that was
Then
it.
she broke into a dance.
That got the laugh, and we did, yeah. Anyway,
But did we? I'm sorry. Forgive me if you say. But what was your absolute very first animated show that you did? Not that you liked or that you were cast in. Because people love stuff like
Jeez.
that. Or maybe just
I
me.
think it's I think it's on IMDb. I did like a
Yes,
My Little
it is.
Pony or something.
You're onto something.
My Little Pony, was it, with Nancy Cartwright?
Was Chippendale the first starring role
Uh,
in animation?
I don't.
Yes, it was.
I think first lead. Yeah. But I mean, that was the 80s, and there was the Transformers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
true,
transgressors were before and after. So it depends on which one.
Yeah. But well, it was Transformers. I was Spike, and they changed now the name to Sam. The kid, and it was just me doing Mark Hamill.
Wow.
Really?
Because I met Mark Hamill doing ADR on Empire Strikes Back, and
I'll be darned.
we've been casual
He was in that.
buddies ever since. Yeah. In fact,
That explains a lot.
during the period when Mark was not Luke Skywalker in front of the world anyway. He was more the Joker and voice guy and comic guy and bon vivant. But anyway, I always run into Mark, and he's such a buddy.
We need to hear your Mark. We need to hear it.
He's such a well, Mark. You know, so when I saw Star Wars, I was so inspired by it, and then I'll be damned. There's Mark Hamill, sitting on the couch at Goldwyn. I don't know what it's called now.
Doesn't matter.
Anyway, the ADR stage there, and Irv Kirshner, the director. Anyway, so we were just doing background ADR bits, and Mark, he's Mark. He's excited about everything. And so nice to meet you, and I thought,
yeah, it was the same way with me. That's weird.
I was there with. I just love Mark. I love him. He's such a pal. Hey, pal. But
no, you're thinking of Eddie Deason.
Yeah, well, I don't know Eddie very well, but
okay, but that's the first thing he always said.
Yeah.
Anyway,
this is the one thing that you both have in common, and I'm not quite sure whether you both are aware of it, right? You both have been specifically requested by the George Lucas for a voice role.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's funny because George, through Dave Filoni, he knows everything.
Yeah,
and Dave says, "Yeah, George talks to me every day. He's always busting my balls."
Yeah,
but
that's Dave Filoni,
George assigned a couple of characters to me. I had been doing Christopher Lee, Count Dooku, before then, but then they had this weird alien gunslinger, the bounty hunter, and they
what was his name?
Cad Bane.
Cad Bane.
And they did a whole test reel, screen test, animatic thing, whatever. And they hired a beautiful, fabulous actor, Lance Henriksen. Lance Henriksen.
Oh, yeah.
And it was
cool
just
dude.
a gorgeous Western evil bounty hunter gunslinger, And Dave told me the story. He said, so we're screening this, with George. And he said,
I like the voice, but it's not weird enough. It's not weird enough. I was like, could you get,
and I don't know if he
Corey?
knew my name. He said, could you think he could do like that? Something between that and Peter Lorre. And Dave said that to me, and I said, okay. So,
yeah, sure. But,
so
that's what you say when you're a voiceover guy. Can you do this? Yes.
Well, I just thought, ooh, I love that idea. So Cad Bane became a very sinister Peter Lorre, but in the Old West. Say, little lady, that's a mighty fine dress you're wearing there. So he's sort of half Western gunslinger.
And a little bit of Peter Lorre nostril.
Half Eastern European, wherever Peter Lorre was from.
Yeah.
He was sort of a traveling, brilliant actor.
Yeah.
And, of course, left Europe because he was Jewish, too. So he skedaddled out of Germany.
Yeah.
As well.
In the nick of time.
Yeah, in the 30s, yeah.
But of course, Jim, you were specifically requested for Hondo, weren't you?
Yeah.
Well,
you
they
probably
put
I'll bet you had done the character. I'll bet it came out of you because we did the pirate voices.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I can remember
I love
auditioning for it at home. Oh, well, thanks. He's one of my favorite guys. The thing I have a little mini philosophy. I've said it before. I don't want to bore anybody, but if you do a bad impression of someone, it's a new character. And if you put two character voices together, and nobody can tell who the hell you're doing then that's a new character.
That's right.
And if you do a perfect impression of somebody that nobody knows, that's a new character. Like I said before, my Aunt Grace, God rest her soul, my Uncle Sam, they've been in cartoons.
Yeah.
And I've called up my cousins and said, okay, your mom's going to be on Chippendale Rescue Rangers coming up, so you might want to. What are you talking about? Her name is Lieutenant Spinelli.
Yeah.
And of course, it was a guy. But, so it's just fun stuff.
Oh, but
Putting together and coming up with character voices.
But one thing, speaking of impressions and stuff, I just so cherish, it delights me no end to hear you do, well, there's a couple of them, but the one that makes me laugh the hardest, Andy Devine. Nobody else can do Andy Devine.
Oh, God.
And I just saw the old Archimedes Frisbee, the old Twilight Zone.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, Andy Devine. He plays Herb Muddlefoot on Darkwing Duck. Well, how are you doing there, Drakester? What are you doing? We're gonna have a barbecue. And
Oh, I love it.
oh, the tumble and tumbleweeds.
Yeah.
Well, I always like doing those impressions that nobody else. I mean, everybody does John Wayne, but
Yeah.
I'd rather do Pat Buttram.
But yeah, exactly. And nobody else that I know of can do Burl Ives.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Burl Ives singing whatever.
Lavender blue, dilly dilly, lavender blue.
I always kind of hated his voice, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I was so intrigued by it that it
Yeah,
made me laugh.
it had that 50s halfway to beatnik, halfway to folk
It
hero.
was a syrupy sweet.
Mendacity.
Yeah.
Mendacity.
But
Yeah,
but with a real sense of darkness and malice behind that honey sweet high
Yeah.
voice. But anyway,
Yeah.
I feel like we're getting a real insight into being in the studio in the early 90s of Jim just doing wacky voices and the whole cast just tears of
we
laughter.
all would we all would
that's
throw
what we
around
all-
our favorite voices.
Yeah.
and entertain the hell out of each other.
I'm glad no one. I'm understood that Deb Adair recorded way too many Tourette's of mine of Mike Tyson.
Oh man,
They were
yes,
They were the Tyson
Yes.
Chronicles.
yes.
You've only done the Tyson Chronicles once on the show, Jim. I feel like it's time to bust it out
Yeah.
again.
Well, I don't think. Well, yeah, I'm trying to think of one that I can tell, but
Basically, you know what I'm saying? I had an opportunity presented unto me in a sense. So I presented myself to this party. And they had hoes left, right, and center. And so I'm like, I see this one, and I'm like in love. You know what I mean? I'm gonna show her the champ. You know what I'm saying? And I pick her up, and we heading over to the closet, and I have her over my shoulder, and she was gonna be the temporary Mrs. Tyson. You feel me? And she talking about. No, champ, no, God, Jesus, put me down. Teasing. You know what I'm saying? and my shit was harder than Chinese math,
anyway, okay, so that's all.
Oh my!
We're-
Oh my!
And I'm going to miss this upcoming fight that's coming up. Mike Tyson fight against Godzilla. I think I'm pretty sure it's Godzilla. I could be
You
wrong.
just got his new promo for it, so
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, fortunately, this will air afterward. Don't tell me who won
Boy,
from the future. What is anything going on right now? Anything going on we should know about? Anything?
Oh, for
happening?
me?
Do you go into conventions or anything?
well, it's funny because I just had to sadly turn down another request for convention. I just can't do it anymore.
Okay.
I especially to traveling. Well, and this damn long COVID. It's
Wow.
still hanging on every couple of days. It's like, oh no. Like now I got a little bit of a stuffy nose. The bad cough is gone for the moment. And then I'm hit with a wave of fatigue, and then you get skin shit, and it's every organ system in your body just all of a
See,
sudden,
I'm always
"Ping,
fatigued.
what the hell is that? Oh no, long COVID. It's just weird symptoms.
Oh, that's weird. Oh, well,
Well, it's autoimmune system stuff.
yeah.
We have a game we play on this podcast, and it's called the voice swap game. And I'm going to explain how it works if you want to play.
Well,
Yes,
let's
do.
see.
he does.
We'll see about that. Oh, I don't.
This is how it works.
My Paul Freeze. I don't
Jim
know.
will give you a line from one of his characters, say Winnie the Pooh, saying, "You stay as sweet as honey." I'm not even going to try the voice.
Sure.
Maybe one day. Then you will take that same line and use one of your character voices to say the same line, and then we'll swap vice versa. Does that make sense?
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's like DOS Butler Workshop.
Okay. Well,
It's
there
like
you
you
go.
have a different character say this line.
Okay, so here's a little bit of Tigger. Oh, Tiggers do not like honey. That icky, sticky, gooey stuff. Blech.
That's Christopher Lee, Count Dooku. Tigers do not like honey. That icky, sticky, gooey stuff. I dare say you have a problem.
I feel like we should get Cad Bane and Hondo.
Very evil.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't do that if I were you, little lady. There's danger ahead.
I would not do that if I were you, little lady. There is danger ahead. But you know what? Go ahead, do it anyway. We'll see what happens.
Nice hat. That's a real Cad Bane.
Oh, there we go.
The best part about these voice swaps is that hearing, I reckon you agree too, Chris, is hearing each voice actor take the line but do it as the character. They put their own spin on it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you know as well as I, when you've got a character that is a part of you, it's in you, you've done it for years, it's just, they live in you. And so you delivering any lines in character, you don't even know what you're going to do or what you're going to say. You just let the character do it. The character just comes out of you, right? You don't think about it.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't plan it.
I always say instincts are the best stinks.
Yeah, exactly. Instincts.
I was going to request a voice from you. It's not necessarily a character voice, but when I was doing my research on you and I heard the voice, it like just instantly rocketed me to childhood. It was the tram operator from Disneyland in the parking lot when you first get on.
Do I have, is my 900? Up here, that'll be a little bit better, Mike, although it should be on the Gaffel.
Oh,
that ain't-
don't.
Oh, yeah. That'll be a treat
Let's
for
see,
sure.
there's the
No.
900.
He's going to get the 9. He's busting out his.
Welcome. That's a Gaffel.
There we go. I feel like I'm at Disneyland. Just that word welcome.
Yes.
I feel like I'm ding, ding, ding.
Yes. Please keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside while the tram is moving. And no smoking, please. You're about to embark on a journey, on a mile journey, to the Magic Kingdom of Disneyland and Disney's California Adventure theme park. Please watch your step as you board, and take small children by the hand.
Wasn't there something about no sitting on laps or something? Wasn't
Yeah,
that
and there'll
something?
be no lap sitting. That's why I have one to do tomorrow for Florida.
No lap. How about lap dancing?
Yeah, really. And these things, they're written by lawyers.
Yes.
And
And brought to life by Corey
I'll
Burton.
tell you, I do this with old pal Brian Nefsky at Imagineering. What a great guy. Anyway, and I don't know how I'm going to make it sound like English. It's the most convoluted legally
What?
kinds of things about, please do this and do not, you will be subject to a security checkpoint, and
We're watching you.
if an object, no, it used to be if an object should fall. If an object falls during your whatever, it's like, please wait until the end, and I don't know, but
Until we dig you out
they have
properly.
they push up on the handle and push out on the door. It's like,
Leaning over, giving special care to kiss your ass goodbye.
yeah, it's like it doesn't make any sense. But but you just got to put that big warm smile on, and
Yes.
and convince myself that this makes sense.
Yeah. But it does make
It doesn't
sense.
make sense, and people tune it out anyway.
Whenever you do that, we're all sitting back there on the tram at Disneyland. We're all, I mean, I could see Christopher. He's sitting there going, oh, man.
I'm losing it because I've been to Disneyland so many times in my life. So many times, like since I was like 5 years old. And it's always been your voice, if I'm not mistaken. And that's literally
yeah.
like your introduction and your outroduction
you're young,
to your day in
so
the park.
It probably has since
That's
you've
literally
been
like your
around.
voice is like the bookmark of your day in the park. And I think that's why, honestly, that voice hit me harder than any voice that we've had on this show.
Just the
Because it's
welcome.
literally like the subliminally the first and last voice you hear when you go to Disneyland.
Well, that's
And I didn't even think about it until I was doing the research that like, oh yeah, of course they have to hire a voice actor to do that voice. It's just like something you don't even think about really. I don't know. It's-
announcing, which is a
It's
whole
wallpaper.
different kind of character voice. It's not. It's because it's not really acting.
yeah, true.
And there's announcing, and then there's narration, which is sort of halfway between acting and announcing.
Depends
Because
on
it's
the
a
copy.
structured type of acting performance, but announcing is musical. It's a song.
Interesting.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Disneyland, USA. But and I grew up idolizing them. I mean, what really made me want to be an announcer.
That was the train.
Yes, that's beautiful. Oh, I love that. I love, I love vocal
Basie
sound
Junior
effects. They don't
coming
let us
down the
do
track.
them. I get so pissed off. I was so annoyed at the sound designer on. I won't say the particular film, but people can figure it out. Where I had to do a wind god, and they gave me a hand mic, and so I blew into the microphone and was delivering lines with all this gusty thing, and I heard the playback, and I thought, that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
Damn cool. And
That's
then,
cool.
Of course, and then he said, "No, just
Was that a Disney project by any chance?
Yeah." Said, said, "Why don't you just do it straight? And then, of course, they did something digital to it, and it just sounded boring.
Oh well, there you go.
But I'm always doing that too. It's like he falls down a well, and it's like, oh, hold on. Okay, I'm down the well. Now, that's funny.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Yeah.
Or you're attacked by an alien sentient mushroom that's stuck to your face.
again.
And then you do this. Okay, now could you just do it straight, and we'll do, and then so they EQ it, and they put it
that's
through
terrible.
a digital filter, and it's lame.
No,
It's lame.
now we
it's
both
not
worked
funny.
with a
It doesn't have
No.
character to it. You got to do it acoustic. Do you remember on Rescue Rangers when we had the great Jimmy McDonald?
Oh, thank you. I was just trying. I
And-
was trying to get in there and tell him about that guy.
Yeah.
And what kind
And
of
he
prop
was-
did he
he was
use?
doing-
He had one end for the wolf and one end for the bear.
That was his hurricane lamp.
Wasn't that amazing?
My hurricane lamp.
Yeah.
So he was
Yes.
doing the bear, Humphrey the bear.
Yeah.
And he pulled out this old, chimney from
From a like a
a
railroad
lantern,
lantern. A lantern, with flame in it.
Yeah. And so, and it was just the glass part, and so it's that sexy shape, whatever. You know what they look like.
Only Corey would call that
like
sexy.
a Coca-Cola.
It was a lamp. Trust
That's
me.
what they call it.
Yeah, it was a hunk of glass.
Yeah. But it's that curvaceous thing. Anyway,
The hourglass. The hourglass.
Yeah. But it's not exactly.
No, it wasn't an hourglass.
It has that
It was a lantern.
specific.
Like in every prospector movie, cowboy prospector movie you've ever seen. Blow out the candle, pull out the
chimney,
glass.
but it's sort of a bulb at the bottom, so it gives it unique, bear muzzle properties, because of the shape of it, the acoustics of it. And he would just go, and in one end of it, it sounds like a bear, and even just a, and then the other end becomes a wolf, because I guess, right? Because it mimics the shape of the muzzle. And I just love that stuff because it's acoustics but it's organic. And it's just
organic. I love that.
I mean, yes, wizardry with digital effects. I respect that. But when you're just doing something organic, and especially if it's for comedy, just pick up something that sounds funny and does the job.
There you go.
Do you think modern day voice actors are afraid to be that creative because they don't need to?
No, they don't let you. They don't let you.
It could be that case.
Because the sound editors.
See, it sounded funny.
Now you do the voices. We'll do the sound effects. Thank you very much. Okay.
Yeah, well, we don't have that.
And yet, some of the characters we do are sound effects, like I did Zipper the Fly. Which is how do you do a fly?
Yeah.
And he just buzzes and just
Taz is almost a sound effect.
How can I buzz funny? And it's got to be kind of screechy. And then because I've got that resonance
that was
that
pretty
I can
funny.
Call upon. And so I just and then I decided to give it a bunch of spittle and all these farty things. And then of course it's sped up with the Chip and Dale voice, and it came out very funny. And then, in the last season, they wanted him to have legible dialogue, and I was not happy.
I hate legible dialogue.
Well, when when it's just this kind of.
Well, I have good news. That wasn't legible.
It's like Tasmanian Devil. I know. So I had to say words in that horrible texture. That's then sped up.
I love The Simpsons. That was Marge, right?
Yeah, really.
No, I'm kidding.
And I just thought it was lame. I just like Tasmanian Devil. Do they make you say words as Taz?
Very few.
Yeah, because
Taz doesn't talk much.
No, because the words. It's
in the way of the dialogue.
Exactly. It's got to have all of that, all that roaring and spittle and plosives and it's funny. And
stuff like that.
And the audience. Here's a secret of voice acting that Dawes Butler taught us as radio actors. He said, and directors hate it, but he said, good acting, good dialogue, well-written dialogue. You don't have to sound out every word. You know it's there. And when the audience fills it in their imagination, it's more powerful. And he would say like in a very tender romantic scene, you don't say, "I love you." If you're really, really...
You do if you're in special class.
Yeah. No, if you're really in a state of head over heels infatuation, I love you. Okay? The audience hears the word love. You don't have to say it. If you do that in an average animation session, say, "Oh, you didn't say the word love. Your voice cracked or something. I couldn't hear it."
Maybe it was your
And
tell them
that
it was their
that
ear.
pisses me off. It's like the audience will, they know it's there. They'll hear it. And it'll be much more powerful, but whatever.
Sure.
Whatever.
Is there anything that's tickling your fancy right now that you're working on that we should be
I
looking
just
for?
did. It was originally written as a screenplay, I guess, a horror comedy screenplay, and the writer-producer decided to turn it into an audiobook. And so it's like a radio play. It's not produced yet all the way, but I know we've recorded all the dialogue for it. A guy in Chicago, filmmaker, writer.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, so he's just doing this independently because, you try to do something like this, an audiobook production, and the creators never make any money,
Mm-hmm.
So he wanted to do a deal where people, especially with a social media profile, which I don't have, would co-own it. So they would make profits from sales and they promote it on their, Facebook, Instagram, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's great. But I don't have that. I said, I don't care. I don't care what it pays. I saw the script and the narration. And it's like, oh my God, it's comedy horror. And so it's a full length radio play. And I don't know if you've ever heard the old radio series, The Whistler. The Whistler was narrated most of the episodes and went on for like 10 years or more, maybe, by an actor named Bill Foreman. And it was kind of like The Shadow, but the Whistler was strictly a
But he
narrator.
whistled.
But he was very engaging and snarky. No, the theme from The Whistler, it's the most haunting theme, and it's whistled. Let's see. I can't whistle, but
Stop it. It's too haunting. Oh, great. Now I'm going to be haunted all night.
I don't know if you can hear the notes in that.
Yeah. I could.
You know that theme? You've heard it
haunting.
before, I'm sure.
No. Yeah.
The Whistler. Well, it's on YouTube. You can hear old Whistler shows. They're really good. But anyway, I
like the picture of his mom.
But I saw this thing and I saw this narration. It's like, it's not exactly the same, but that should be the voice of Bill Foreman. So I did my version of Bill Foreman. I am the Whistler, and I know many things, for I walk by night. I know many strange tales from men and women who have slipped into the shadows. Yes, I know the nameless terrors of which they dare not speak. And then Marvin Miller would come on,
That's pretty good.
Tonight's episode,
Yeah, I love that old stuff.
But it was so good. And then he would say, you didn't mean to kill your wife, did you, Bill? But you did. Yes. Now what'll you do? Run, that's what. But no, they'll catch you, won't they? So you stop into the bar down the street. And whatever, it goes on and on.
Sure,
whatever.
Sure.
It just weaves a tale of these people who did wrong and are trying to weasel out of the consequences mostly.
There you go.
Or whatever.
Like me.
They're good.
Well, Corey, I thank you so much for this.
Oh my
brother.
God.
I mean,
Oh my God. Can we do this every
this
day?
is so cool. Well, sure. Okay, so I'll see you tomorrow. No, but yeah, good stuff. Now, have we touched on anything? You're not gonna necessarily go to a con that we can see you.
No,
no, that's fine.
Virtually,
I was just
maybe.
making a statement.
But it's funny. The last time,
But right now you're.
I
it close to home.
I do occasional D23s, but I can't. And I'm sorry for fans because I sincerely appreciate, the the fans' appreciation of what we do, but
Sure.
but it's
God bless 'em.
it's so stressful for me because I can only talk to one or two people at the same time and give them my full attention.
Sure.
And I know it means, the characters mean so much to people. But I hate signing autographs. I would rather just talk to people. But anyway, and my heart breaks for the people that are left behind in line. It's like I've been here for 3 hours and I have to pee, and
Well, you can do it.
and my brain is about to
depends.
shut down. Yeah, really. No, the stress of being in crowded situations and being the center of attention. Again, that's the autistic thing. It's like, I can go up on a stage if I have a role to play. Or whatever.
Come on, my baby.
But
Come on, my honey.
most performances, they love the applause, the applause. And it's like the attention from an audience is.
Well, you don't get into voiceover to have everybody staring at you.
Yeah. I'm just so uncomfortable. It's like pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. I am Oz. I'm the character. The great and powerful character, not this little nerdy geek from the San Fernando Valley. Don't mind me.
Right. Shall we give them your address too?
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding.
They find it.
I'm kidding. Yeah. Well, thank you, my friend. Thank you for doing this.
But I'll do D23. I love doing panels.
Yeah.
But then I have to escape because.
There you go.
It's rough on the old boy now. So,
no problem.
Your neuroses and whatever peccadillos, whatever, get worse with age. And it's like, I get more and more I just want to be left alone. Or,
there you go.
Or at play with
there you go.
With you great folks, I mean, this is just, like I said.
Well, we really appreciate you being here.
Thank you for being here.
We got to do it again sometime. We've had multiple guests on that have come on twice, and it's fun to catch up and see what's new and everything like that.
And I always feel a little guilty. It's like, gee, I didn't really necessarily accomplish and answer questions and shed light on.
No, you
things.
did great. You did
great.
great.
It's all in the quality of the conversation. That's the goal.
Yeah.
But the main thing, and pardon me for being a little too ebullient. I mean, I should shut up and listen a little bit more. But I knew that it would just be absolutely thrilling and delightful, as it has been, as it always is.
Well, thanks,
just
man.
hanging out.
Thanks.
Of course.
Just hanging out, yeah.
And I think that's what the fans like the most too.
This is just us.
They like authenticity.
I mean, this is just us naturally. We're not performing anything. This is the way we are. When we meet in the lobby. Yeah. This is the way we are.
There we go.
This is what we talk about, and I could just go on forever. I just
thank you again, buddy.
And us voice people, we's the best people in the world. There's no.
That's right.
No brag, just fact. I don't remember who said that.
Walter Brennan, the Guns of Will Sonnet. But I could be wrong. I'm not. Anyway.
Walter Brennan.
Thank you, Corey.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Corey Burton.
Thank you. Thank you, my dearios.
All right, everybody. That was another episode of Tuned In with Jim Cummings. Hope you were paying attention. That was a good one. We were joined today by Corey Burton. Thank you so much for joining us, Corey.
Thank you.
Once again, Brenda Dando, as always.
Thank you, Chris.
And Jim Cummings, of course. We will see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Remember, you can find this podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. And of course, there's bonus content on Patreon, which has a lot more coming up. We have Andy Serkis coming up. We have a whole bunch of great guests coming up for you. So stay tuned, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks again.
Thank you.